And hopefully we can get this working out okay. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Cam Cruikshank, and I am blessed to serve as the President and CEO of the Greater Cabarrus Foundation. This is our grant cycle training webinar. We held a similar meeting on June 30th, and we had over 50 people there. Not everyone could make it, so I'm glad that we're able to host this today, and we've got about 25 or 30 people who've signed up. Here's our agenda. I'm going to talk about 3 different grant programs today and give us some time at the end for some questions. So the 3 grant cycle programs I'm going to talk about is the 2026 Greater Cabarrus Foundation Grant Cycle. This is our second year of doing that. I'm going to introduce the URE Community Fund Capacity Building Grant, which is a brand new grant program that we are piloting this year with our friends at URE Bank. And then I'm also going to introduce the Cabarrus Spark Grant Program, which is brand new that we're launching for the very first time. Please do me a favor and try to hold your questions to the end if possible. Please feel free to type your questions in the chat, and that way we've got them there when it's time to get to the questions. And my colleague Evelyn Inman will be manning the chat, so if there's something that comes up during the presentation, she can answer those as well. And when we're all done, we're going to send you an email that will have the application portal links, the scoring rubrics, the PDFs of the applications, a handout about Spark Cabarrus, and these slides. We're also recording this, so we'll be able to post it online and you can go back and watch it again. Okay? All right, well, let's jump into our first grant program, which is our Greater Cabarrus Foundation operating support. And it's important to note that there's going to be 8 different grant opportunities this year in 2026 that comes from 2 different fund types. The first is our Greater Good Society Fund, which is our largest bucket of resources, and it's for operating dollars to help nonprofits here in Cabarrus County that are addressing the greatest needs in our community. And this year we have 7 different field of interest funds that are each addressing a different social determinant issue. Those are 7 different buckets of money that will spin off grants for each of those 7 areas. So we've got 8 different opportunities, if you will, based on the programs that your organization has. So this year we're going to have 8 to 10 grants available, and the dollar range will be $3,000 to $5,000 each. Last year, in our very first year, we had 5 grants and we gave out $17,000. This year, we're going to give out between 8 and 10 grants valued at $3,000 to $5,000 each. It's important to note that these are for operating support, which can go towards things like salaries and benefits, rent, utilities, anything operational, buy more medicine, buy more cans of food, pretty much anything operational. We don't provide funding for capital campaigns or construction, for endowments, anything related to political activities or grants to other organizations. So this is unchanged from last year. We just have more grants and more resources. Eligibility is the same, 501c3 nonprofit organization in good standing. Remember that your programs need to be serving Cabarrus County residents for this grant, and that your mission should be aligned with at least one of those social determinant priority issues that we've identified. Of course, you need to be able to complete the application and upload everything online. And there is a requirement that you need to be willing to submit a final grant report. And some of the organizations that aren't eligible are government agencies, religious organizations for things that are aligned with faith only. But if there is a religious organization that has a program dedicated to one of those social determinant issues, then we would encourage a conversation to see if there's alignment there. And of course, we're focused on Cabarrus County and nonprofit organizations. The rubric, which I think we've shared links to ahead of time, and we will share again after this. There are 5 different evaluation areas or criteria that are in the rubric, and we have points that are maximum points are available per criteria is 5. And our grants committee, which consists of both board members and community members, has been trained on how to score the applications using this rubric. So it's really important that you get to know the criteria and what the grant reviewers will be looking for. So the first is the alignment with social determinant issues. Again, that's a direct tie to one of our 7 priority areas and demonstrated community need. Another thing that's important is support for Cabarrus County residents. So where your headquarters is located and what percentage of your clients are actually serving residents in Cabarrus County. You know, our board and our committee represent the donors who have made contributions into these funds. And our donors want to make sure that the resources are going to organizations that are run well. That means they have effective board governance, they have an active and engaged board, they've got good leadership, and they've got a good strategic direction. That the organizations are in good shape financially. Our donors do not want to be making gifts and grants to organizations that are about to go under or that are in trouble financially. We want to make sure that we're funding organizations that are strong, sustainable, and don't have any audit concerns. And then one of our values here at the Greater Cabarrus Foundation is continuous quality improvement. So we want to make sure that organizations are continuing to work at improving and getting better and taking advantage of all of the free resources that are available to help them. When you receive the documents, this is a PDF of the actual grant application, and you'll see that it aligns extremely well with the rubric, and you'll be able to review question by question what those grant application questions are when you review that document. Got some tips for you. These are lessons learned from last year. Some organizations have multiple areas. They do food nutrition, they do housing and homelessness, and they do education. And in those cases, the best thing to do is pick one of your programs, not all of them. So do not submit an application that talks about your entire organization. Instead, pick one of your programs and apply for that program, because that's how those grants are going to be adjudicated and scored. It's based on alignment or fit with one of those social determinant areas. Another tip, number 3 there, is less is more. You know, we're probably going to have 60 or more applications, and these grant reviewers are human. They don't want to review 60 applications of 100 pages or more like we had last year. So try to be both succinct with your writing and submit the documents that you need to submit, but more is not more, less is more. That's my tip for that one. And then finally, make sure that you submit all documentation for every scoring criteria. We're giving you the rubrics so you know exactly what the applications will be scored upon, and you need to make sure that you answer all the questions. It's kind of like a test in high school. If you don't answer the question, you're going to get a 0. So you got to make sure you answer all the questions and you submit all the documentation that's required so that you get scored on each criterion. Here's the grant cycle dates. It's already opened. It opened on the 1st. It's going to close on September 1st at 11:59 p.m. And our committees will review the applications in October, bring it to the full board in November. Our full board will vote and make the decision. Then we'll make our award notifications in November or early December. The grant period begins January 1st, and checks will be distributed before January 31st. So that's a quick overview of the first grant. Let me go on to our second one, the URE Community Fund Capacity Building Grant. And it's important to note that this is being done in partnership with URE Community Fund. And the way this is happening is URE Community Fund is providing the resources, have given those to the Greater Cabarrus Foundation. We will identify 5 recipients of that will receive up to $10,000 each in services that they receive from Support Cabarrus. So the complete process is that an organization would go through a complimentary organizational assessment where we'll bring consultants on campus and identify some of the greatest opportunities for improvement. We will then work together with the agency to identify how those $10,000 in services would like to be used. It could be towards bookkeeping, it could be towards marketing services, it could be towards developing a strategic plan, it could be towards developing a board development strategy. Lots of things that could be utilized for those $10,000 in services through Support Cabarrus. There's 5 grants available, and make sure that you apply for those, because this is a really great opportunity to do some capacity building. And then with this pilot, we're focusing this year on organizations from Cabarrus County and Stanley County. In the future, we will expand it to all of the areas that URE Bank serves. But for this year, for our pilot, we're really trying to focus on Cabarrus County and Stanley County organizations. So the scoring criteria is very similar to what I described before. I'm sorry, the eligibility requirements: 501c3, your program serves folks in Cabarrus County or Stanley County. We're focusing on organizational capacity building, and the agencies have to have a willingness to engage with Support Cabarrus. And similar to the last one, we also would expect a simple 1-page project report when it's all done. I'll jump into the scoring criteria on this slide, and it's important to note that 3 of the 5 criteria are exactly the same as the Greater Cabarrus Foundation grant. Why is that noteworthy? Well, in a moment, I'll share with you how we've made it really easy for applicants to apply, where there's a copy and paste function within our online software platform that will make it very easy for you to complete this application if you've also chosen to apply for the Greater Cabarrus Foundation grant. I'll get to that in a minute. But the first 2 criteria here, mission alignment, is the alignment of the agency, how well it aligns with the URE Community Fund mission. And then the second one, instead of just focusing on Cabarrus County, this one focuses on organizational headquarters and the percentage of clients that live either in Cabarrus County or Stanley County. Again, those last 3 criteria are exactly the same as the previous grant I've already reviewed. You're going to get this PDF of the actual grant application. And again, my suggestion is you complete the Greater Cabarrus Foundation grant application first, and then do this one so that you can take advantage of the copy and paste function. And when you get that PDF of the application and you get down to this section called Effective Board Governance, you can stop there and utilize the copy and paste function. You would click on the button that says Copy Previous Answers within our grant software, and it will complete everything for you. So you don't have to retype everything that you applied for from the first time. The timeline is the same as our previous grant. We're going to do these concurrently. We have different members of our grants committee that's going to be reviewing and adjudicating these applications. But it opened on the 1st. It's going to close on September 1st, and same timeline with the committee reviewing everything. So here's how they differ. The URE Community Fund Capacity Building Grant is on the left. The Greater Cabarrus Foundation grant is on the right. And you'll note that the capacity building services, not cash, is the award type for the UCF grant, where on the GCF grant, it's actually cash to support operating dollars. You'll see the amounts, how they're contrasted there, the geography, and the number of grants. So that's a quick snapshot overall, how they differ. We're doing great on time. We're actually right on time. So let me jump now to the Cabarrus Spark Grant Program. This is a brand new program we just launched on July 1st, and there's a rolling deadline for this. There's not a hard deadline. You can apply throughout the year, but I want to take this opportunity to tell you about this one. So unlike regular grant cycles where there's a bucket of money and then we spin off grants, what happens with this is donors will be able to choose which projects they want to help fund. So it's kind of like a crowdfunding situation where you would work with our team to get a potential project scoped that is interesting to you and would be of benefit to your organization. After it's scoped, the foundation will review that, and then we would present those opportunities to our community investors, our donors, and they will be able to choose to make gifts into that fund to support your project. We will launch that project after 80% of the budget has been committed, and this is all managed and supported by Support Cabarrus, our capacity building division, which many of you are familiar with. So this font is small here, but again, we're going to send out handouts to give you the details, but you start a conversation by expressing interest. You would get your project scoped with Jen. She would then direct you how to complete the application. We would review it internally, and then your project would go live. We only put these projects live for donors to consider once you've signed off on it. So we would not do anything until you've agreed that this is a project you want to do. And then the community funds it and work begins. So that's a really quick high-level overview, of Cabarrus Spark. And again, we're going to send out handouts for you so you can learn more about that. And there's lots of content available on our website. So as we wind down our time together, let's talk just for a minute about next steps, and then we'll open up for questions. My strong recommendation is to make sure you review the rubrics and that you assess which programs fit your organization the best. Make sure that you go ahead and gather your documents now. Look at what's required. Things like a strategic plan, your 990, financial statements, a list of your board members, board meeting minutes. Don't wait to the last minute to collect those documents. And if you don't have a strategic plan or you don't have an annual work plan, you got 45 days to create one so that you can include it in your grant application. The biggest challenge we see is people wait to the last minute and they don't have the documents they need. So again, I strongly recommend get started now. Make sure you register in the GLM portal, where many of you already have accounts that are still active from last year. For those that don't, we'll give you directions how to do that here in a minute. And if you're interested in Cabarrus Spark, please reach out to Jen here at GCF. So again, you're going to get a copy of the rubrics. Review them closely. Make sure that you answer all of the questions and upload the documents. And if you have questions about the rubrics, please contact us here at grants@greatercabarrusfoundation.org. That's a shared email address, and either Evelyn or I will respond to those questions. Make sure you log on to the portal, our Grant Life Cycle Manager, or GLM tool. That is our one-stop shop where folks go to register your agency, to apply, to submit your grant application. You'll get notifications from there. It's really slick in that it saves as you go. So if you accidentally get kicked out or you have to go do something else, every time you change screens and enter data, it saves. We manage all of our grants through that system. If you're a new user, please go ahead and create an account. And if you're an existing user and you forgot your password, that's okay. Just click on forgot your password and you can get it reset very easily. And in some cases, there might be instances where someone who started the account is no longer with the agency, and we can go ahead and get new users aligned with an agency account. So we've got about 7 minutes left, and I'm happy to answer any questions that folks might have. So, Evelyn, is there any? Let me stop sharing my screen, and then we'll see if there are any questions in the chat that folks have. No questions yet. So let me open it up to folks to see if anyone has any questions they'd like to pose.
I have a question. Oh,
Okay, I
go
think
ahead.
Herb raised his hand first. Go ahead, Herb.
Okay, no, I was going to ask, you said we needed to contact Jen. How do we get Jen's contact information?
Yeah, so it's going to be in that deck. It's Jennifer at greatercabarrusfoundation.org.
Okay, Jennifer.
At greatercabarrusfoundation.org. And all of those things will be in the handouts we give you. Sandra had the second question, and then Amy's got one. Go ahead, Sandra.
Yes. I just want to understand better the Cabarrus Spark.
Yeah.
So can you give me an example, like
Yeah.
something that
So,
people can apply for?
yeah. So any Cabarrus County nonprofit agency can apply for Cabarrus Spark. And the way it works is that you might have a project that you're interested in doing. Maybe you want to develop a strategic plan. Maybe you want to you need bookkeeping help, and you know you need that assistance, but you don't have the resources for it. Well, we could scope out the project for bookkeeping, let's say, and make sure that it's a good fit, and then we would make that giving opportunity available to donors on our website, kind of like a crowdfunding or like a GoFundMe account where donors can make $1,000 contribution, a $250 contribution, whatever it is. So let's say you need bookkeeping and it's going to be $10,000 a year. Once the project gets to $8,000 of funding, then we would start the project and we would continue to raise money until we get to that $10,000. So that's a quick high-level overview of what that could look like. And really, those projects could be anything that we provide through Support Cabarrus, our capacity building division. What we're seeing in our first year of operation is the services that are most interesting to nonprofit organizations has been strategic planning. That's been the most popular thing that folks have been interested in. But we offer a slew of different services. Hopefully that helps. Let's go to Amy. Good morning, Amy.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
I think you answered it just a minute ago, but just to clarify about, so the Spark grants are more capacity building type of things versus program building.
That's correct. Yeah. So the of the 3 grant programs I reviewed today, the GCF grants is cash for operations for whatever operational needs you have. The GCF, the URI Community Foundation Capacity Building Grant is for capacity building activities. And then the Spark Cabarrus is similar in that it's also for capacity building activities that you need. And there's a rolling deadline with that. So you can apply at any time.
Right. Thank you.
For Spark, there's a question in here from Heather McCauley. For Spark projects, is there a budget cap or recommended project range? Not yet. What we've seen is most of the projects that people have been coming to us for and need funding for have been in the range of $10,000 to $20,000. And really, Heather, we'd be strategic to see what types of projects would donors be interested in funding, because these are going to be donor funded. We're going to create these opportunities for donors. We're going to put them on our website. And I think the strategy is identifying projects that are going to really resonate and donors are going to feel attracted to. So this is brand new and we'll see how it goes. But that's my sense, is that the trick is going to be, not the trick, but the strategy is what are some projects that donors are going to be really interested in funding?
Yeah, I have 2 quick questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you going to limit, like you just said, you would put these projects up on the website, right, for donors? So are you going to limit the amount of projects that you're going to be looking for funding for?
One moment, Cheryl, I'll answer that question. Hey,
Okay.
Evelyn, do me a favor and go grab the Spark Cabarrus link from Support Cabarrus website and drop it in the chat so people can click on that and learn more if they wish.
Okay.
Will do.
But Cheryl, no, we're not going to limit. I mean,
Okay.
we're here to help our nonprofit partners build capacity. I mean, our mission is to help you guys so you can go do more in our community. And we're not going to limit any of that. We want to try to help as many of our nonprofit agency partners as possible. We don't plan on limiting anything. And like I said, what's different about this and interesting, we'll see how it goes, is that it's going to be driven by donors. Whereas, our grants committee determines grant recipients from our other grant opportunities. This is going to be driven by donors. So we'll see how that goes.
And then just a clarifying question on both the URI Bank one and this Spark. So there is no check. Basically, if we were awarded a URI Bank one, it's basically a credit kind of with the foundation, right? So let's say we're awarded $10,000 and it was for our strategic plan. So you kind of keep a balance, shall we say, and then you're like, okay, project's paid for, done, right? Like, is that how it would be?
That all happens in the scoping, right? So there would be no surprises. We would scope out what the project is, how long it would take, how much participation involvement you would need to have. There'd be an agreement that says Cheryl at One Can, I'm gonna provide the information, I'm gonna participate in meetings, whatever the scope requires, and then we launch it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
We've got a question in chat from Mr. Brooks. As our organization continues to advance the Kingville project, we're moving into historical research. Does GCF provide guidance or connections pursuing feasibility studies? Yeah, potentially. That could be a project that we might be able to do ourselves, Mr. Brooks, where that could be a potential project for support for the Spark Cabarrus grant. We'd have to dig into that more. That's a really good example of why we need to have a meeting and figure out what your needs are and what you're interested in so that we can determine if we're the right solution to help or if there might be someone else that could help you. Thanks for that question. Other questions? So there's Evelyn.